Nation. Harry here. We have a couple of, we have a guest, and then we have a couple people over in the sound room. So I appreciate Reese and Andres in the sound room helping us out. But our guest is Jesse Tuttle. We'll get to that. But guys, this is a Dog Days of Summer fun podcast. We need more of that in our technology space. And the topic is at the highest level, it's how did you get started? But more specific, Jesse and I have been interacting with his lovely wife and his endeavors over in security, and we found we both basically started with the Apple II Plus. So, Jesse, how you doing on a summer Friday?
Man, I'm loving it. Plating a grill out this weekend, pulling out my professional smoker, throwing a brisket on it. I am so excited.
Boy, that's Texas talk.
Right here in Cincinnati, Ohio. Yep.
Yeah. Well, I'll keep the light on. Y'all come visit Austin. I'll keep the light on. Jesse, you go first. Please introduce yourself. You've lived in a couple different realms, and then more importantly, the focus today is the Apple II Plus.
Yeah, for anyone out there that doesn't know me, which is probably most people, Jesse, better online known for a long time as Hacka Jack from the group Hackwiser. I was a former world's most wanted hacker that turned, I got contracted and compensated to become an intelligence asset, continually hacking government and military systems and helping secure them and bringing modern day compliance and security to the forefront of everyone's mind.
Yeah, hey, Jesse, gang, let's take 5 seconds and start over. I didn't realize I was sharing my screen, which is not what I wanted to do with that artwork. So let's have a 5-second pause. I'll edit all this out. Yeah, we'll come back in. Stand by. Hey, Nation, Harry here. It's a summer day. It's a summer Friday. We're here for fun to talk about the Apple II Plus. I'm with my bud, Jesse Tuttle, who also got a leg up in technology like myself with the Apple II Plus. So, Jesse, how you doing today? Isn't it fun? Summer Fridays are the best.
Dude, I am having a blast. Just been sitting here cutting up with you and your team, but looking forward to the weekend. It's a Friday afternoon. I've already pulled out my smoker and my grill, and we're going to be throwing a large brisket on and having a great weekend.
Yeah, that's Texas talk. I tell you, I'll keep the light on. Y'all come visit and we'll have a barbecue contest. But Jesse, the SMB Nation audience may not be as familiar with who you are, and then we'll get to the good stuff. So who are you?
Yeah, so Jesse Tuttle, online for a long time, I hid who I was, but people that were around in the late 90s, early 2000s, may remember some of the cyber incidents I were involved in, but I went by the name Hacka Jack from the group Hackwiser. I'm a former world's most wanted hacker and became a U.S. intelligence asset. I hacked government and military systems and helped them secure them, bringing modern day compliance and cyber warfare as relevant subjects in our world.
Yes, sir. And that's a whole nother podcast for a whole nother day.
Yes, it is.
So, hey, let's talk about how you what role did the Apple II Plus play in your career? You go first and then I'll go.
Oh, no. And by the way, thank you for having me on here with the subject of the Apple II. I travel the world and I speak all the time. Lots of times I even pull up like stories and things from my past. One thing I never typically get to share is how I actually got started in technology. And that start was on an Apple II Plus in the late 80s. Yes, it was about 10 years after it came out, 8 to 10 years. My grandpa had an Apple II Plus, and then gave it to us when he got a new computer. And it was totally pimped out. He maxed out to the 64 KB RAM, all this stuff, all the bells and whistles, printer, everything with it. And as a 10-year-old boy, Christmas 1989, it was magical. Yeah. Dialed up to my first BBS and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, no kidding. And then what was the progression since then? Did you move on to, did you stay with Apple? Did you go to Commodore? Did you go to the PC? What was your pathway? Because some people stayed with Apple and they still do.
Yeah. So I lived on that Apple II Plus for, I don't know, about a year, and then we moved. I was going through a hard time in life that I've never really shared or talked about, and that computer helped me a lot emotionally. It gave me a realm for me to discover and explore. When we moved, all of that just kind of faded away. Um, and then when I got reintroduced to computers, a couple years later, it was on a Packard Bell
Oh, yeah.
486, circa 1993,
Yeah.
92, 93,
Yeah.
right around there. I think it was the CD10 version or CD20. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're in the zone. Well, hey, I'll go next, and then I'm sure we'll have a little bit of dialogue. Folks, we're gonna keep it short and sweet because we know you want to go out and barbecue that brisket, so we don't want to. And that's not just Jesse. I know everybody's jonesing to barbecue, but my story is kind of interesting in how I ended up in the Texas Hill Country. I'll go quick. Um, on paper, I'm from a seventh generation Texas family. Again, nothing like a paper family tree, but my mom and dad met at the University of Texas in Austin, which is why I'm here. And my dad went to law school and studied oil. And then lo and behold, they discovered Prudhoe Bay, and he became the head lawyer for the Trans-Alaska Pipeline. So that's where I grew up. Nice place to visit in the summer, wouldn't want to live there in the winter. And so I worked on the pipeline in the summers and made some coin. The oil industry, that paycheck doesn't bounce. And so when I came back to college, and I think I've been kind of looking at the calendar. I think that was 82. Now that I think about it, one fine fall day, I went down to Computerland and near the college and bought an Apple II Plus, a black and white monitor, 40 character screen, uppercase. Had to get a floppy drive. I mean, these are early days, so you had to get the lowercase to sender, the 80 character card to make it functional. Didn't even have a color monitor. Came back to at that point I had an apartment. Came back to the apartment, set it up, and I was like the only kid with a computer, much less an Apple II, and loved it. And Jesse is the same thing. I think with my ADHD, it's like the first thing in the world that understood me, right? It's like, wow, this thing gets me.
100%, dude. I can relate so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I do have a question for you. Not to interrupt or jump in, but
no, go ahead.
One of the coolest things for me, and I wish we still had it in technology, is the manuals where they had printed code in there, and you could retype it, and that's how you learn to program.
I did Apple Basic. I did Hello World, World, and Apple Basic. No, that's exactly right. And it, by the way, it changed my life. It defined my career, and here I am. Everybody's got a story, but my Friday giggle, because the statute of limitations have expired. As a typical college kid, well, we'll just leave it at that. Well, we'll get to that. But what I did is in my apartment, the word got out, and I was at the University of Denver, and you had to sit in the hallway for your time on the VAX machine up at the computer lab, so it might be midnight, right? It was a thing. And you had to get VAX time on dumb terminals. Well, I got a 300 baud Hayes modem, and we discovered that we could sit in my apartment, have a little music on, like the Boulder radio station, if that makes sense. It's all cool. And people, it was like a time sharing service. The story gets better. Then I discovered, well, maybe I can make money, so I'm time sharing. And then I thought, well, I need to charge for this. And so being college, and this is where the statute of limitations have expired, is people started bringing weed over to me to use the computer, so they didn't have to go to the computer lab and use the vax. And then so that speaks for itself. It was definitely a hoot. And Jesse, I'll end that story with, I think a lot of great innovation at that time, and even today in our space, I'll just say it, is I think a lot of people were stoned. I mean, I think it really resulted in innovation. Back to you. You don't have to catch what I'm pitching. Over to you, sir.
Oh man, no. So actually, it's a well-known fact that while I was a known threat actor, and this was from circa like 1994 to 2003, I didn't really dabble in weed much, but I would have a drink. I mean, it would help me loosen up. I would sit back, and I'd have creative ideas, and I'm hitting some rum, and it's just
Love
enjoying.
Rum. Yeah, love rum. Okay.
It's the drink of the pirate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and I'll end on this, and you'll get the final word, but I'll end my share on this, is that it's interesting about the more change things, the more things change, the more they stay the same. And here's what I mean. My 27-year-old son does not want to be in the line of work I'm in, so he's doing AI for HPE in the Silicon Valley. He's 5 years into the Valley, primarily AI and cybersecurity. Jesse, his first 3 years were at Fortinet, so he cut his teeth on cyber and then moved over to AI, which was a smart move. But I don't know, his party habits, but it's just it. Well, I have my suspicions in California. But it's just interesting how it's come full circle, whatever that means. You know what I'm saying? It's different, man. For the kids today, they want AI. The last thing they want is dad, Windows Server and infrastructure are boring. Over to you, Jesse. Take us out.
Yeah, you know what? I find something very similar because we went through that whole phase. I mean, think of, if anyone here has ever seen an Apple II screen, you're going to immediately think green. The text is, I close my eyes and I can literally visually see it. With those 5.5-inch floppies, I had 2 of them. The keyboard built onto the machine, the monitor sitting on top, all of this stuff. I had that full dot matrix Apple printer next to it.
Oh, God,
I had all of this stuff.
Yeah. And those were expensive. Those printers were expensive. But go on.
My grandfather was an engineer for GE aircraft engines, and so that's why he originally got it, and then he replaced it, and that's how I got it. So I was so lucky to so blessed to get every bit of that. But that's where I cut my teeth, and then going forward, watching everything, like when I got off that, and then I changed school districts, all these things. I ended up with a Packard Bell on Windows 3.11 for work groups. I then started dabbling into dial-up BBS with that, and then news groups, and I watched that whole transformation into like Windows 3.11 into 95 and 98, and then Millennium. Oh gosh, that was horrible. And then straight in
to me.
Yep, straight into like 2K server, because I ran 2K advanced server. That was my go-to as a threat actor. And then XP, and then I watched as Vista and 7 and 8 and 10
and on Vista. No, sir.
And it's all this, it's all this simplification. How do we make it more simplified? But what I see now is there's this huge draw for the super techie, the people that's like cutting their teeth. They want that nostalgic feel. They want that interaction. They want a clicky mechanical keyboard. They want terminal screens. They want a screen, an interface, even if it's not truly terminal. They want a website interaction interface that feels terminal-like.
Yeah,
It's
isn't
so
that funny?
fascinating.
I told you we've come full circle because that's basically time sharing. By any
Yeah.
other name, we've come back to time sharing. Hey, Jesse, thank you so much. And Andres and Reese in the control room, thank you. Stay on the line. Let's go ahead and call it good.